co-host, and I am so happy to have you all here today. This is going to be an exciting and inspiring call. Um, I'm going to first go ahead and bring up the disclaimer that these everything shared today is for informational and inspirational purposes only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, or any of the medical, physical, psychological, or emotional conditions. Um, and it can be life-changing. So I love being host of the Miracle Experiment Call because I really get to share how much the ancient secrets have changed my life and share all of the cool stories with that other people have had. And so today, go ahead and put your where you're from in the chat. We'd love to see where people are coming in from all over the world. In addition, let us know if this is your first time on the call because we would love to welcome you. And um, Katie, why don't you go ahead and come on, say a brief hello and maybe a touch about why you wanted to be a co-host with me today.
Okay. Well, I think we all know each other so far. And right now, I am staying with really wonderful friends in Trinidad, California, which is right along the coast up in Humboldt County. And it's beautiful. I'm surrounded by blooming trees and bushes. It looks like springtime. Um, and I wanted to co host with Robin because the topic is so personally relevant to me. And I am pretty sure that you all know my story that I was very, very, very debilitated for decades and including 3 years in a wheelchair. And when Dr. Clint had me change my diet, my whole life changed. And that is the topic for today is, if you change your food, you can change your future. And I know that to be true on a deeply personal level. So I was really excited to get to co-host with Robin for today.
Thank you, Katie. And that is our oops. Let me see if I can move that down where you can see it. This is our quote for today. If you change your food, you can change your future. So last week we were talking more about the mind aspect of it, getting our minds prepared that we are able to have agency in our own health and what happens in our life. And today we're adding the diet to the conversation so that when you are wanting to extend the length of your life um, in being powerful, healthy, and well for a really long time, the two go hand in hand. And so, as a health and longevity strategist, I really like to help people realize that both are important. And if you don't think you can get over a condition, then certainly that's going to help you stay stuck in that. When I first started being in the Ancient Secrets community, I was just astounded at the stories and part of it is like besides just getting your health back, you get your health, your happiness. You get this overall, that we are in this community that is led by love. And the introductory quote to the book, which of course, since I'm at somebody else's house, I don't have my book here with me. But the introductory quote is, I didn't come to teach you, I came to love you, and love will teach you. And it's kind of interesting to think about, but that's like part of the food in this community is that love is in everything. And and I guess when I even intentionally put that in my soup when I'm making it. how long I plan to live, and that my dad sees at least his 100th birthday. And it's the two are always combined now to me. And so I think that's one of the reasons that I wanted to do today's call as part of this integration of what I know from the ancient secrets. Now, Rodell, are you ready that you can pull up the graphics for the announcements?
Yes, Robin, go ahead.
Awesome. Okay, we are now going to have Katie do the announcements.
Okay, I'm going to be brief on the announcements because they are in the newsletter that Rodell so beautifully puts together for us every week. The main things that I wanted to remind people of are the family reunion in Ashland. Please register if you haven't yet and are planning to come. It's going to be really wonderful. It's going to be from June 1st through the 5th at Jackson Well Springs Resort in Ashland, Oregon. I believe that there still is an early registration fee. I could be wrong, but I think that that is true. Um, Next weekend, we will be having, well, we being Deborah Ann, is hosting the it's now monthly end of the month rejuvenation detox for 3 days. And if you've participated in the 30-day or 7-day detox before, or did the class that was yesterday, that is free. And it's going to happen every month, as I said, and just as a rejuvenating reset for our bodies monthly. I think it's a fabulous offering that she's providing for us, and I plan to be doing it too. Um, so that's next weekend. That's happening. And then, as Robin started to announce at the very beginning, the Miracle Experiment game is going to happen. It's going to be starting May 4th at 11 Pacific time. And there still is an early bird $50 off until the end of the month. So until March 31st, if you register for the Miracle Experiment game, you will get $50 off. And I think that there's a new journal. Is that, Carol, is that correct?
There is a new journal, but it's not quite published yet. Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
but it will be
I
ready by then.
I pre-spoke.
No,
Okay.
no, not really. So everyone can be excited that we will have a new journal for
Yeah,
everyone
I'm
that they will
I'm
get,
looking, I'm eager to see it.
and it will also be available then on Amazon. So, but we have short one more um, editing and proofreading, then it can go live.
And that's it.
Uh,
Awesome.
I, ju- I just wanted to add that we have already 14 people signed up for next week for the 3-day detox.
Yay.
So that will be really amazing. It will be a nice group. So if you want to have support by doing a detox, please join us because we can then every day we will have a short call where we support each other and you can ask questions and it will be really a great experience. So please register so we know how many people are coming and then you get also the link where we are going to meet, which Zoom link.
How can I ask if we've already done the detox? Is there a code that we put in when we register?
No, it's just when you have a different link. So there's a link for the people who have already done the detox. There's a link for that. And then there was a link also for those people who have never done it. So if you still are interested to join next time, next month, you can definitely then go onto that link and then you will get that introductory call with Deborah Ann, where she explains everything on how to do a detox because the people who have done it already with the 7 or 30 days, they already know. But if you have never done it, then there needs to be some explanation to do that. And that's what that class is for that Deborah Ann hosted yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
but
so
that
And
the
would be
next,
for You would have the special link if you had already been through an Ancient Secrets detox specifically.
Yeah, there are two different links. One is to sign up for the class, and that will automatically also enlist you in the detox, or you only enlist or register for the detox.
Okay. All right. Enough about that for right now.
Well,
Yep.
one little thing, there's going to be a link for Millie Rogers, Clint's mom's mung bean soup recipe in the chat in anticipation of deliciousness.
So you can have, because everybody makes their mung bean soup differently. And I have heard wonderful things about people loving Millie's mung bean soup. So I know that when we get that link, I'm going to see what is her particular version. All right. Thank you. And next we will have Ariana give us the talk about the plant of the week.
Yes, I'm excited to talk about this plant. Before I do that, would you like to throw the disclaimer up? Because I don't think we've seen
Oh,
the
did I
disclaimer
not
yet.
do that? Didn't I do that?
And
Yeah,
You
I
you
didn't.
did. No, you
You
did.
did.
She
Oh,
did.
it didn't show on my screen. Okay. Oh, it was there. All right. Just wanted to make sure it had to come up. Okay. Does somebody have the graphic to put up for the plant, the cattail?
You can go ahead and take the disclaimer down, Rodell.
Yeah, just let me know. Let me see here. Is the plant up yet? Can you all see the plant?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, I'll start talking about it in the meantime. This plant fits in perfect with our discussion and the topic today because it is a wonderful edible food. I'm going to talk about this plant, uh, common cattail. I'm going to talk about this plant in order of the seasons. So we will start with winter. And this plant is usually in most places, I know throughout the United States. I would imagine it's all over. I would imagine this plant's global in many, many places. Perhaps not as much in dry areas. It's more, you'll find it in swamps most of the time, or marshes or wet areas. And it's called the grocery market of the wilderness. If you're ever in a survival situation, this plant is wonderful for so many things. So if we start in winter, the root and the rhizomes are the most important to harvest. And as I've mentioned before, you always want to harvest where the energy of the plant is. So in winter, of course, plants go into hibernation. The energy is really in the root and in this plant, the rhizomes. Rhizomes are the little roots that grow out horizontally. And with the rhizomes, you cut them off. You have to dig way under to get them, but it's really easy. It's a little different from what it says here on the graphic because the best way to do it is to just split them. They're very long and not very thick. And you can just split them with your hands or you can split them in half with a knife. And then you just use your thumb and you just squish all the white starchy stuff out of the rhizome into a bucket of water. And you just do that with all the rhizomes. And each plant has a lot of rhizomes. And this, then you leave overnight for 24 hours. You decant it, you pour the water off from the bucket until you just get down. And it's this really pasty white stuff, right? Then you would put it in a dehydrator or put it out in the sun to dehydrate. It becomes like a powder, and or you'll have clumps. And then you save it, and you can, turn it into a flour. And cattail pancakes are the best canned pancakes I've ever had. They're better than your usual pancakes. They're far more nutritious, wholesome. I mean, I remember eating one pancake and being full, absolutely full. I couldn't eat another one. They're delicious. And you can also use the pollen if you've saved the pollen. We'll get to that later, but you can put the cattail's pollen in the flour, which sweetens it. It's one of the most magnificent wilderness foods. I'm not kidding. And the Native Americans and probably others have used this food in winter for the winter starch, and it's always around. At least in Washington State, it's everywhere. So we have a prevalent store of this food. It's wonderful. Now you'll see the leaves that are growing from this cattail. They're very thick and they're reedy. They're like a big reed. Those can always be woven into mats, hats. You can make shelters out of them, tarps out of them. baskets out of them, numerous things. It's amazing. And if within each reed, where the reed meets the stem of the plant, there's a little sticky, clear substance in there, which is like Novocaine. It's a medicine, and you can use that if you have toothaches and put it on your gums. As we move up, so let's go from winter to spring. In springtime, the little sprouts come out, and sprouts come out of the roots for the next stalks to come up. They look like little uh they're just little points that are coming out down by the root. Those are the most delicious things. They're like, you just steam those and butter them. Those are so delicious. And as you move up, the stalk in spring is edible. You can cut it up and again steam it with butter. But the real delicacy are those little nubs that come out from the root, and the root itself is delicious. So we move up the plant, and eventually it produces a spike, and it has the male and the female flowers in it, so it fertilizes itself. The very top there is where the pollen is, and so when those are to the fullest ripe and they're ready to be shaken off, they'll just shake off. You can shake off the pollen in a little bag and you can save it. And it's very nutritious, just like all pollen is. And the little spikes, before they've turned that color, they're green. They look like little tiny green. Uh, it's like corn on the cob, a miniature corn on the cob, and it's green. You can eat those, and they taste wonderful. Again, you can steam them and butter them, and then once they flower and they go through their, now we get into summer and fall, you'll get those spikes with the brown. They look like a brown hot dog, right? And you can just take all the fuzz off of those. Those are amazing. If you're in a wilderness situation and you need insulation, you can take all that fuzz and put it in your clothes and keep warm. You can make pillows out of it. You can do all sorts of things with that fuzz in it. Most of all, if you need to start a fire for any reason, great tinder for a fire. And I think I've covered all of it. If anybody, Katie, wants to add anything to that, or Carol, if she's here. Otherwise, that's cattail. It's amazing. It's such a good nourishing food. When you make those cattail pancakes, they're delicious. Hope you try them.
Thank you, Ariana. I'm gonna have to find myself some cattails. I have, for being in Washington, I have never actually tried them before, and you have convinced me it's worth finding finding some for me. So
And real important, I have to add, never harvest your cattail from a swamp or a marsh that is near an industrial plant or anything where you suspect toxins of any kind, because the cattail will suck them up and you will eat them. So do not harvest cattail where there are toxins or pollutants. That's
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing because I've seen
yeah,
people collect them like along the road. It's like,
yeah,
oh, don't eat that.
yeah, yeah. Make sure it's in from the road, way in.
very good point. A lot of the most nutritious plants do, absorb stuff that will be not good for you if it is in the soil. So, thank you very much for that. All
If
right. So next, I want to say, and I looked at the newsletter, and I couldn't find where I register if I have already done a tea talk. So maybe somebody could drop the correct link in the chat. Um, the So I am happy to say that in February, I did my first 28-day detox ever. And I did it with a friend because I could stay at his house. So we could both be eating the whole proper regimen for the 28 days. And it was a fabulous experience. I didn't see particular health benefits, but then I'm not like in serious need of any transformation for one of the things that I found fascinating when, because he has diabetes that's largely affected by his having been in Vietnam. So his exposure to Agent Orange has made him um, predisposed to a diabetes that is really hard to control. So I've known him maybe 3 years or so. And even though he's been on meds for diabetes, his sugar has always been out of control. And when we first started the detox, his sugar started to spike. And Dr. Pranoff said, don't worry about it. It's, as you're starting to detox the body, you'll see that it'll start to level out, and which it did. And then it got to the point that maybe 2/3 of the way through the month, that his doctors, who had been planning to raise his meds again, said he's being leveled out enough that they are not going to raise his meds. And so, that was like a major, major thing. Because like I said, in the 3, maybe 4 years that I've known him, he has never been able to get his blood sugar under control. And so, it's interesting because you don't know exactly where the body is going to have the help. So one of the reasons that he wound up doing the detox is because he recently had 2 strokes and is presently in a wheelchair. And so there's a lot of health things going on that when you do something starting to take care of your health, you don't know exactly where the body is going to decide the most important um, things are to do first. But that we are able to see progress is always a good thing. And so that was one of, my first experience with the full detox. I had done the 7-day before, and really getting to see, like for me, I was so glad that I had a friend to do it with. So we split up the things. I would make the mung bean soup most of the time, and we got to really liking the blended mung bean soup in the morning as breakfast. And then he would be responsible for making the detox tea most of the time. And so it was fun to be doing it with a friend. But I do highly recommend either one, and I'm super excited to do the end of the month detox things. I think that's going to be really cool. Um, Katie, do you want to share a little bit more about
Yeah,
the
I just
difference that it makes? One of the things I want you to touch on is the difference that it makes to your attitude when you start to see a difference in the physical health because of the diet changes.
well, something that you said earlier um, brought back the memory. Recording in progress. Meeting Dr. Clint and suddenly like having hope where I really had not had hope before. No, I mean, John was just telling the story last night to some friends of how reluctant I was to go meet Dr. Clint because I tried so many things. My dis-ease and poor health really was triggered in 1997 when I had pneumonia for the third time in my life and never really got better and kind of kept getting worse, actually, a lot worse. And people are like, have you tried yoga? Have you tried keto? Have you tried paleo? Have you tried blah 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 blah? And it's like, yeah, I've tried all the things. Well, here's one more thing. And so my mindset was really uh, enforced by Western medicine attitude that with the diagnosis that I was given, there's no hope. Like it's a life sentence. There's no hope. We might be able to manage some symptoms, but don't think that you're going to get better. And so the first thing that Dr. Clint gave me was hope. When he read my pulses and he looked in my eyes and he said, it's possible. It will take time, but it's possible. And something about him and his presence and his assurance and confidence and knowledge, his absolute knowledge that it is possible, gave me hope. And so I was willing to do what he said and do this 28-day detox. And within 2 weeks, I had no pain. And I had not been without pain since 1997. And so that's pretty good incentive to keep going, keep listening to his recommendations. And I thought that I was eating a really healthy diet before that. I was eating locally, I was eating organic, I was um, pretty much vegan, but I was just eating the wrong things for me. And so changing, I mean, I know that this quote is true. You change your food and you change your life. And it's been fascinating to see the number of people. So I'm 67. I have friends who are younger, I have friends who are older, many of whom have health issues and have seen my whole journey, like they've seen the whole thing, and but are not willing to change the way that they eat. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's just being so ingrained with the idea that Western medicine knows what it's doing. And if they say you have to take drugs for this, then you have to take drugs for it, or, that there has to be a certain way. Um, but what you were saying about the mind shift, I had to be desperate. I was desperate. And so I was willing to do something different. And that made all of the difference. And it was 2 weeks. It took 2 weeks into the detox for me to go, oh, this is different. This is something, this works.
Interesting. So now, that I have, because I get to stay at this house when I'm in Olympia, he almost always has a pot of bowls of mung bean soup. There's now this time when I came, there's a whole blended bowl of mung bean soup and a whole bowl of whole beans. So like I can, do this combination. But it's one of the things that, and I remember in my first couple of years in the Ancient Secrets community, I had several friends who either did nothing but mung bean soup for at least 6 months after their first detox, or they would do mung bean soup at least once a day for years. And it really speaks to how you can have those simple foods that can be so nourishing that the body just is always, it's like one of the ultimate comfort foods, but it's also because it's being super nourishing for the body. And I'd like to, maybe I'll see if anybody wants to share any stories, go ahead and raise your hand. How the mung bean soup and diet changes, whether it's the addition of the mung bean soup or it's the what are you no longer eating that used to cause you a lot of inflammation. Who would like to share a little bit about that? I'm kind of thinking Carol might have some more than a few good stories in that range.
Yes, I do. You wouldn't recognize me if you saw me in 2020, January 2020. I was getting steroid shots every 6 months in my bursa joints and SI joints in my back. And I have psoriatic arthritis. I have advanced osteoporosis. I have Ehlers-Danlos. All these things that I don't have anymore. They're just things that I've been challenged with in the past. But any rate, the big change for me was I thought, like Robin, I was eating healthy, or like Katie too. I thought salads were good for me, and I'm high vata, and salads are not good for me. And so I stopped eating kale, raw kale, lettuce, all of those kinds of things, and started eating warm things. I started with the mung bean soup. And I was able to completely revamp. I lost 20 pounds, which was awesome. And I got to where I could no longer needed a cane, no more back brace, and Thank goodness in 6 years, no more steroid shots in my hips and back. I still have discomfort there, but not crippling, can't walk stairs kind of pain that I had then. So it's amazing how gut health can affect your mental fog, your immunity, so many things that are coming together in our microbiome of our gut, and to understand that and how food affects that are really amazing. Getting rid of artificial ingredients and chemicals, number one. That to me made the biggest difference. And if you're a person who eats out, just know that monosodium glutamate, MSG, is in most fast food because it makes us addictive. And so when you go to Colonel Sanders, there's that nasty MSG in the potatoes and the green beans and the pot pies, and you can't eat just one. Yeah, and that's by design. And when I was in a chemistry class, we used MSG to fatten rats up so we could test them for obesity. So it works. So yeah. And I'll just tell you one more quick thing that in science-based that just blew my mind, and it's how powerful the gut bacteria is. There's a feline bacteria that lives in the gut of a cat. Sometimes it's passed via feces to a rat. It's so powerful that that little microorganism hijacks the nerves to the brain of the rat, convinces it that it's attracted to the cat. And so this rat pursues the cat based on this reprogramming so that it gets eaten and this microorganism gets back where it wants to be in the gut of a cat. Now that's powerful.
Look at Katie's mouth. Biology is really smart, and then we just have to decide, well, what biology are we following? Because, a lot of our cravings are because you're, you've got an excess of candida in your gut, making you crave all of the sweets and junk food and stuff like that. So once we understand the that biology is intelligent, then we can actually make choices that are going to be helpful to our personal health and biology instead of doing uh, whatever the biology is that we bought into based on, our buying and consuming of fast food or, various different things.
Robin, I love that biology is intelligence. And one of the things that has happened, and I know happens for other people who change their diet, is you become so much more sensitive to the effects of what you've eaten. So we're on this 6 week long away from home trip, visiting lots of friends, lots of different foods. And every time I test it, it's like, ooh, like, fresh sourdough bread. It's like, yep, nope, next gluten's not a good, it's just not a good idea. And the other night we went to this amazingly delicious Italian restaurant and shared a dessert. It was gelato. I mean, gelato is delicious. And man, the next day I just was like, headache, my stomach. It's like, all right, still okay. It's true. It's still true. And starting to know ahead of time, like, that's no, I can't, that's not going to be good for me. That one's not going to be good for me. What does my body need right now? What does my body want right now? And right now, my body is really wanting mung bean soup.
All right. I have some things that I will share at a later time on some of the things that you said, but I'd like to hear from Bridget.
Oh, hi, everybody. I just want to say, first of all, thank you, Ariana. Uh, I grew up in Colorado, and my grandmother, uh, Indian, Spanish, my maiden name was Chavez. But I remember my grandma, she always had like the most reverential attitude towards plants. And like we went down to New Mexico, northern New Mexico, and picked piñon nuts. And she also got pitch from the tree because she used it to make a healing salve. And then she would use rose hips and make a salve out of that. But as far as like biological diet, she always ate what was around her. I mean, they grew their own garden, they had their own pets, and they just worked the land hard. They appreciated nature, appreciated everything. So that biological thing is true. But what I wanted to say about mung bean soup and the gratitude and all this is coming up. I will never forget the first time I discovered and went on the mung bean thing and discovered all of it. And it was truly a magical moment in my life. And I'll tell you why. Um, I used to teach, but I was hurt, got injured, couldn't leave my house for about 6 years. Made a point to get off medication because I didn't want to be on it all my life. So I went up to Ithaca and learned a meditation practice from TM, which made a difference. And that's when I also found Dr. Clint's book free on Kindle because I love to read. And it's like after starting this and doing everything, it's just like my life literally, it was magical. And it seems like every time I have the opportunity to do the mung bean soup thing again, it's magical all over again, just like with the gratitude. It's magical all over again. And especially now with the way the world is, I think it's imperative for each of us to make time to find our own little magic. And you certainly can do that through, what Dr. Clinton, blessed Dr. Naram brought to us all, which is good food, focusing on what you want, meditation, giving back. And my gratitude is with you all. And thank you, everybody, for all of your very wonderful sharing.
Thank you so much, Bridget, for sharing that. Um, I was kind of thinking that Rodell was next, but Luke is in position in front of him, so I am not sure exactly. Maybe we'll go ahead and have Luke go first so that my brain is follows the order that I currently see.
Thank you. So this discussion is very prevalent to something that just happened yesterday that I wanted to share with you that I think is vital. And in terms of the foods we eat, I'm an avid reader of ingredients of everything I consume before I buy it. Now, about a month ago, two dear friends recommended this product to me. It's these delicious tropical fruit popsicles that are sugar-free, okay, sugar-free. And one of the people, it's a couple, and he is a type 1 diabetic, so I figured, okay, sugar-free. So I bought a box, and I really only glanced at the ingredients. I didn't really read it. And these things are so delicious, and I've been gobbling them down for the last month in the evenings. And I was having dinner with Ariana yesterday, and I was telling her about this, and she asked me what makes it sweet. So I said, I'm really not sure, but when I get home, I'll check. So I started researching all the ingredients, and one by one, they were fine until I came to one that literally made my jaw drop. It's called maltodextrin, which is much worse than sugar, has a much, much higher glycemic level than sugar. It creates gut health problems, metabolic problems, has no nutritional value whatsoever. It's a horrible poison, and I researched how this can get by the FDA. And the FDA evidently approves it because it's technically sugar-free. Anyway, I threw it out. I immediately drank a lot of water, made detox tea. So the point is, again, I didn't live up to my usual regimen, well, not regimen, but my usual practice of reading the ingredients. If I had, I would have never eaten these things at all. I immediately texted my friend, told her about it, told her to tell her mate to get off of this because he's type 1 diabetic, and she texted me back that she threw it away. So again, for the purpose of our good health, always read the ingredients of everything you consume that you're thinking of consuming before you bring it home. So I feel like I have to now unpoison myself from this thing I've been eating. So I'm even drinking some wonderful detox tea right now. So anyway, that's my little story.
All right. Well, I expect we'll see you on the 3-day mung bean rejuvenation
Well,
thing.
very like I eat mung bean soup at least 5 days a week on a regular basis anyway. I love it. It's a big part of my eating practice.
Awesome. And I do, it does make it so you do not get to bring as many things home from the grocery store as you might once you start being a label reader. It's like, oh, I could do this. Oh, is it worth it? Nah, I guess I'll pass. Thank you, Luke, for that. Rodell.
Yes, thank you, Robin. Uh, I feel like I was inspired to share my stories because it's related to my progress right now. So, like 3 months ago, around mid-December, I made a quiet decision. And at that time, I was simply trying to survive my routine. Uh, as a law student, during the day, I attend classes, read cases, and try to keep the pressure of studying. At the same time, I work at night until morning. My body was constantly tired. My mind was always switching between responsibilities. Sleep was irregular. Energy was unstable. Because of that lifestyle, I used to rely on anything that could keep me going. Soft drinks, sugary drinks, anything quick and convenient. It felt normal. It felt necessary. But deep inside, I knew something had to change. So I started small. I stopped drinking soft drinks. I let go of sugary and artificially colored drinks. I chose to stop drinking alcohol. At first, it was not easy. When you are studying during the day and working through the night, your body looks for quick energy. But instead of giving in, I become more intentional. I started prioritizing vegetables. I paid attention to what I eat before work, during breaks, and after long study hours. Then, one day, I tried cooking personally mung bean soup in my kitchen. In Filipino, here in the Philippines, we called it monggos or monggos soup. It was simple, affordable, and nourishing. And I tried to copy the ingredients given teaches here in the ancient secrets. And that small act of cooking became part of my routine. This because it's really affordable here in Philippines. At the same time, it's healthy. It grounded me. And slowly, things began to change. Even with my schedule, my body started to feel lighter. I don't know if you noticed my my face really I mean I noticed fat loss here in my face, especially in my visceral areas. And my energy become more stable even during long nights of work and long days of studying. But what surprised me most was not just the physical change. It was how I started showing up in my responsibilities. I become more focused during classes, more disciplined in managing my time. I was able to walk for 10,000 steps a day, not like before. So more productive, even with limited rest. I did not realize it first, but my food choices were affecting everything. Then later on, I came across this line with Dr. Naram: if you change your food, you can change your future. And it hit me deeply because I did not start with that quote, but somehow I was already living it. And looking back, my life did not change overnight. I was still a working student. I was still tired at times, and the pressure was still here. But I was different. I could say stronger in discipline, clearer in mind, more in control of my choices, and in a life where everything feels fast and demanding, the small control made a big difference. And I realized that even if my schedule is heavy, I still have the power over the small decisions. And those small decisions, repeated every day, are now shaping a better version of my future. So If you are also balancing studies, work, and life, if you feel like everything is too much, I could say start small. Start with what you eat. Thank you.
Oh my God, Rodel, that is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Because, I mean, you have become such a loved part of our community. And to me, what you just gave us was a glimpse of how how that is part of what we've been getting to see, you know? And so thank you. Such a blessing you are.
Thank you, Ruben. I also just want to add on. During December, my weight is it's 79 kilograms, but now it's already 71. So I know it's not that big loss weight, but for me, it's really a progress.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Ariana.
So great to hear all these shares, Bradell. That's awesome. Yeah, I wanted to comment when I went out. I've got two comments. When I went out to dinner with Luke last night, I decided, like Katie, that sourdough is just like so scrumptious. So I had a lot of sourdough, and then my favorite thing. I've gone off sugar, right? And coffee, and I've been just doing all these changes and feeling good. And and I thought, oh, I'm going out to dinner, so I can have my favorite dessert, creme brulee. I tell you what, I hardly slept last night. I felt so miserable in my stomach and my being. And it just teaches me a lesson. You think you're giving yourself this treat, and I've been good and I've been doing all this stuff and I'm gonna have a treat now. And it's like, yeah, let's rethink that next time, Ariana. So there was that. And I'm so glad, Luke, that you looked up those ingredients because now it got passed on to other people as well. It's so important to look at our ingredients. The other comment I wanted to make was in response to Bridget had put something in the chat that I wanted to mention real quickly about plants. One of the things that the Native Americans always did, and the way that I learned from Tom Brown, you always when you go to collect a plant, the gratitude and the interchange that you have with the plant is so important. So you want to listen to the plants, you want to have respect, you want to always, you don't just go in a patch and just start picking everything crazy. You stop, you have gratitude, you bless the plants, you pick the plants that you hear to pick. You don't pick the biggest plant that looks really healthy and wonderful, and I'm going to take that one. That one's usually the plant that's like the mother plant, the grandparent plant, and they're the plant that kind of needs to survive so that it creates beautiful seeds and creates the next generation of healthy plants. And that's such an important philosophy that I failed to mention during the times I've been talking about plants. And that's very important to remember that whenever you're harvesting wild plants. It's like people who hunt. You should never, ever take the lead, most beautiful animal, the most strongest animal. And I know in hunting, sometimes that happens. They call them trophy hunters. You never do that. That's the animal that's going to take care of the herd and take care of the population. So just wanted to add that in.
All right. Thank you, Ariana, for those couple of comments. Vinay, the one who gets me to smile if I hadn't been.
Thank you so much. And it's a great feeling to be with the family. And I apologize for being late because I was traveling all the way. I was attending the spiritual retreat. So I tried my best that I have to meet my family. So that's how I made myself to, at least for the last few minutes, I can be with my family. Uh, Thank you so much for everyone to share the things. And when Mr. Rodel was sharing about him, he's, by the way, he's a handsome boy of this community, one of the handsome boy, and now he's becoming more handsome. So thank you so much. And Yeah, when he was sharing, it reminds me that how Dr. Ram used to do to make his mung soup so delicious. And it is important, and especially Mr. Rodel, if you can take care of this part. Because Dr. Ram was traveling and his work was like for 6 months in a year, he used to travel. He was in the flights. And Dr. Ram always used to say, who kills our body the most? Vata, air element in our body. And second thing, how it becomes more because of the travel. Because when you are having the long flights, we're not able, we eat the food, like Katie said, like Ariana said, that we eat everything, but we forget that whether it's going to easily digest when we are sitting in the flight for the long flight. So Dr. Ram always used to follow this thing that he used to add the ghee, 1 or 2 tablespoon of the ghee in the mung bean soup. Now, what happens with the ghee? Ghee is the best remedy to shaman or bring the vata down, bring the air element down from our body in the stomach. So this will be helpful when we add the ghee in our mung bean soup, and it will really taste a lot. Sometimes it happens that we not get the ghee. We can use a clarified butter. And Bridget, thank you so much for reminding me the beautiful example of Dr. Naram. Yes, Dr. Ram also, like everybody has said that Dr. Ram also used to love the food, but at the same time, he also used to take care of his health. Whenever he travels to the Italy, he makes sure that he eats the world's best pizza whenever he's there in the Italy. But he follows the diet and discipline that before the 1 week of eating the pizza and gelato ice cream, Katie, thank you for reminding that thing. And also, after the 1 week of eating the pizza and enjoying the pizza and gelato ice cream, he used to follow the diet where he used to drink only mung soup, not the mung also. Only mung soup and vegetable soup and ginger water. This was when he used to come to the USA, he used to enjoy the bagels and everything, all the food. But he used to take the remedies. He used to take this mung soup, only soup, watery soup, not the whole mung, because he has to balance the vata and everything. So that's what I want to share with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinay. One of the things, that I like to remember is when we are going to indulge in something, then we can balance it out with healthy options that will counteract. So when I'm going to eat a piece of fried chicken, which I do every once in a while because it's like I don't know, there's a comfort food thought regarding fried chicken. So I eat a piece of fried chicken every once in a while when I go to a potluck or something, but I balance it out with high antioxidant supplements that I have that are also delicious so that I know that I'm taking some actions to counteract that I'm going to create, have something that's going to create some inflammation in my body. Um, Cornelia, how about if we have you share?
Yeah, I want to kind of connect what we talked about last week, which was all about the mind and what we are eating. Because one of the main things that I noticed, not just in myself, but also from my studies that I did, if you are on a really good diet most of the time and you go out and eat something that might not be the best, the worst thing that you can do is to feel guilty or have any negative feeling about what you're eating, because that is actually how your body is then reacting to it. If you go out and say, okay, tonight I want to have a steak and I really want to enjoy my dessert, your body is much more likely to digest it well instead of having negative attitude towards it, because the body is always following what your mind is thinking. So if the moment you are actually thinking, I shouldn't probably have had that, then your body will react accordingly. So really, that is a very important point to consider. If you eat something that is not the best, at least enjoy it and don't feel guilty about it. That's my tip. That's what I do.
That is so important, Cornelia. I remember having a one of the conversations I had around I had a healthy chocolate product that I was selling that was fabulous for reducing inflammation. And at one of our chocolate tastings, the presenter was talking about like the amount of toxins you produce when you think guilt, and so it like not only are you, making your digestion worse if you're going to feel guilty about that piece of chocolate cake that you're going to eat, but you can actually be producing toxins with your thoughts that are, causing you to have that heavier body that you hate because you had that thought when you were eating the chocolate cake that it was going to add to your weight, but you wanted it anyway, so our thoughts just have so much of a it makes such a difference. um so before we go to the breakout rooms, we have we started doing a challenge of the week. And the challenge that, okay, now I've taken notes all over my paper. I have to get back to the challenge of the week. Challenge of the week. I thought we could say, what is one thing you could do to change your diet in a beneficial direction? Now, you might already have taken out all the things that you consider, not good for you. But you can always have as one of the things you'd like to change that you're adding something that will benefit you. It might be that you go in search of nettles or dandelions or cattails, one of the plant of the weeks that we've been having, and see if you can add those into your diet. I have now picked 2 batches of nettles so our nettles are coming up here in Washington. So if you have any wild areas that you might be able to go and find nettles, they are an excellent thing to be doing in the spring. They're cleansing in addition to being super nutritious. So you can, and then, if you are on a path still of eating a lot of regular food, particularly in America, where we have an exceptional high quantity of things in our food supply that can make you sick in all kinds of different ways, then I encourage you to, look at what could you remove from your diet and maybe replace it with mung bean soup of more, once in a while, and other benefits. And I also wanted to bring up this book. It's called Eat Wheat, believe it or not. And it's like, why would this be one of the most important books I consider in my repertoire right now? It's actually written by a man named John Douillard, and I'll type that in the chat for you. He's an Ayurvedic practitioner in addition to being a chiropractor. And this book documents all of the ways that if you eat wheat in a correct way, in an Ayurvedic way, and it's clean wheat, so it is not killed by glyphosate, uh, you know, all of the things that you can, and you make sourdough, but you're eating it in the right time of the year, all of these different things that wheat is actually an important food in our gut, that we're not supposed to digest all of the gluten because there are beneficial bacteria in our gut that are so important that gluten is its food source, that they make a stronger intestinal lining. They become part of the lining of our gut to make it stronger. But you can't just add wheat if your digestion isn't good and you've got holes in your gut. You have to You have to do things to repair your digestive fire and repair your digestive lining, and then they will actually strengthen your digestive tract. And the same thing with milk and dairy products. Properly raised, it can be a very important ingredient in our food supply and for our health. And so one of the things that I will end with here is that we have, in the modern world, what we have been trained that to think is good for us is not always the best thing. There's always the context of how it was grown and raised, in addition to how you were grown and raised and your constitution. And so as we learn with the help of the ancient secrets and all of the, different things that are coming out in science about what is good for longevity, combining all of this information and looking at it from a perspective of what would be good and evolving for me right now, and how that can change over time, I think is a huge thing. And I love being able to share with this community, because this is such a rich place of experience filled with love and sharing, and this little practice that we have at the end of our calls. I don't know, a lot of you might have heard this, but when I first got on the Ancient Secrets calls, and they did this thing at the end where they rub their hands together and they put them, I love you and I'm with you. Within the first one or two times, I was like, I can feel that coming across the Zoom screen, where all the other Zoom calls that I've been in and people would say, I love you, goodbye. I never felt love coming across the Zoom screen. And so, for anybody, I don't think there was anybody new here today, but this is to me one of the treat things that we do, because this community is one that's filled with love. And when we do this, we connect with each other, we feed each other love and energy and blessings. And so, so I'd like to do this before we go into breakout rooms. And I do have breakout rooms set up for everybody. So unmute, rub hands together, and say, I love you and I'm with you. And feel it coming to you as you're giving it out.
Love you and I'm with
Love
you.
you
I
all.
And
love
I'm with
you
you.
I'm with
and
you.
I'm with you.
Love you.
Love you,
I'm with
doctor.
you. Love you and I'm with you.
And I'm with
Love
you.
you and I'm with you.
I'm with you.
Well, thank
I'm
you.
with you.